So, what would you say are the biggest business and investment opportunities in Somalia? If you can maybe highlight some specific industries or sectors.
Sure. So, I mean, the biggest one is solar energy. I mean, there's no doubt. Somalis pay more for electricity than anybody in the world. They pay between 70 cents and $1 per kilowatt hour, which, is like 10 times what we pay in the United States and probably 7 times what we pay here in Kenya. There are so many, municipal power providers, retail solar installers, and energy intensive businesses that have tremendous demand. It's a very easy investment for the business owner to understand, and there's just so much money to be saved on the customer side that there's like a tremendous opportunity for investors to come in and really kind of scale up the work in solar electrification. Number two, I would say would be, okay, so the other two are opportunities that are going to require some unblocking before they're really viable at scale. One of them is fishing. So Somalia's got the longest coastline in Africa and has what is by and large an underfished stock out in the Indian Ocean. A lot of this is because of the insecurity, and a lot of it is just because the fragmented nature of the government has made it so the licensing regime hasn't been maybe as effective as it could be. But there's opportunity for companies to come in and to process fish, particularly tuna, onshore, or even better, to catch it, flash freeze it, kind of sashimi grade, export to East Asia and Europe. We need to up our game in terms of the health and safety certification. We have some companies that have the technical ability to do this, but because the certification regimes aren't there, they're kind of stuck selling to these Omani cartels who are turning around, slapping a made in Oman sticker on it, and then re-exporting at 10 or sometimes even 15x what the Somali companies are selling it for. And that gap, that 10 to 15x margin, sort of illustrates the potential in the fishing sector. The third one is domestic production, like light industry and manufacturing. This is an area where we see strong performance, a lot of really strong market positions, particularly limited to a region, and a tremendous amount of potential. I mean, the country imports 90 something percent, of the goods that are there. They have a regulatory system that is kind of by traders and for traders, right? And traders want the opposite from government that domestic manufacturers want. So again, there's some kind of regulatory reform or some industrial policy that needs to take shape before it's really viable. But that's just an area where there's a lot of scope, particularly as the Berber report gets built out. And that's an easy access to the global markets.
Yeah, I saw that you invested or lended. I'm not sure what the correct term is. Funded sort of shampoo and clothing detergents business in Somaliland.
Yeah. Yeah. So we finance some machinery and a lot of inputs. And this is one where, this is not high-tech manufacturing, right? This is getting the precursors, mixing them together in a safe way. And then it's really a lot of marketing and packaging, right? And just kind of a funny story, right? So one of the companies, I think we've done maybe 3 or 4 of these companies over the years. And I was visiting one of them, I don't know, last year at some point. And they have their bottles up in the office, and I'm looking at the different scents, And one of them is, like floral, sort of the things that we might expect. The other one has a garlic clove on the front, and the third one has an egg on the front. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, you really have to know the market to put the garlic clove on the shampoo and know that that's what the market's looking for. So yeah, I mean, there's water bottling, there's mattress manufacturing, injection molded plastic products, even a book binding, right? There's a lot of these kind of light industry type companies that are really able to undercut the market and with scale can gain more market share because they're able to produce a product that's at least as good, that is better oriented towards the local consumer, and is ultimately cheaper when it gets to market.
Okay, so these companies can basically produce or sell it for cheaper than what the traders imported for.
Yes. I mean, it's tough, right? I mean, China's a powerhouse, and because the traders have a lot of influence in the government, they have a tariff regime that's friendly to them. But just another story that illustrates the potential. We support a company in Portland called Soma Chicken, and they're the biggest domestic producer of eggs in the Portland state. They have about 30% of the market, and the biggest competition is cheap imported Chinese eggs. They have kind of uh, an agreement with the Portland state government that if they can get to a place where they're supplying 50% of the market, that the government will raise tariffs on the imported eggs. So there is this desire within the country to have more things produced, but it's sort of and you'll have to forgive me for this pun, it's kind of a chicken and an egg thing, right? Do we raise tariffs without really knowing that the domestic producers can meet the new demand? Or do we not raise tariffs and sort of stifle the competition? So what we found is, kind of in a bottom up sort of way, by engaging in dialogue with the government, by showing, hey, these are very similarly priced, much higher quality. They're dominating in the hotels that the kind of foreigners stay in. You can start to change that dynamic, and you can also start to change the consumer perception. Right now in Somalia, by and large, there's this feeling that if it's made abroad, it's better than if it's made here. But over time, we're starting to see that change as we're able to put high quality, locally produced products on the market. And whenever I go and talk to the entrepreneurs, I say, in the United States, and I know in South Africa too, it's the opposite. It's the more local. If you can say this egg was laid across the road, right? That's the ultimate luxury purchase versus the imported egg. But it's a bit backwards there now, but it's starting to change.
Thanks for watching. The link to the full interview is in the description. Our new book, How We Made It in Africa Too, Real Stories of Entrepreneurs Turning Opportunity into Profit, is also available now. You can buy the paperback and ebook versions from the link in the description.